Welcome to the Equine Business Show. Today I have got a treat for you. I have got Clare Fielder, who is a web designer and digital coach. Now, Clare uses biopsychology to make sure that our websites actually take somebody from a visitor into a paying customer or client. So if that's what you want from your website, if you want your website to generate you more income, stay tuned. Welcome, Clare, to the Equine Business Show. So, Clare, tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Jenny. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. So I am a digital coach and a web designer. So back in my old corporate world, I used to be a trolleyologist. Yes, that is a made-up word. So I used to study supermarket trolleys and baskets. I wasn't exclusive just to the trolleys. And it was all about understanding how people bought. So how do people buy in store and online, their customer journey, their buying behavior, what other things they buy together in groups. And now I take that knowledge and help small businesses. So I apply that to the web design work we do. So I'm a self-taught web designer, and we create really delicious customer journeys for people. So you can really get raving fans and people who love your business. So I guess that's what I do in a nutshell, but there's a lot more I do, obviously, as well.
And so one of the reasons that I sort of wanted you to come on the show was to talk to everybody about why it's really important with your website to understand that journey, because I think so many people just chuck a website up, and we all do this. We're all guilty of it. You know, like, I need a website, so they just chuck a load of stuff up, and then the website doesn't work, and they're not getting any clients or any customers. And there's a few that I've looked at and I've just gone, I don't even know what you do. So why do you think in that journey, what do you think is like really important? Like if somebody's starting from scratch, what do they need to know when they're planning out their website?
Yeah, there's many answers to this question. And the first thing I say, if anybody's like that, like thinking, just checking up a website, in one part of me, my heart goes out to you because it's so overwhelming and so scary. But the other part of me kind of celebrates the fact you've taken action. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's the biggest step, is to get yourself out there. Where websites mainly fail is people don't have a purpose. So as you say, they haven't put any thought into it per se. They've just chucked it up. And so how can you expect a really great result from something you've just chucked up? It takes time and energy to kind of plan and to think about, one is what the goal is of the website and all that great information. But when somebody comes to land on your site, is it really obvious what you do? So when a consumer comes to a website, there's kind of like 4 key stages they go through. So the first is arrival, obviously. It's like, what the hell do you do? Can you help me? Is this something I want to discover more of? Yes or no? Then they kind of go into the information stage. So this can happen on your homepage. It can happen on other pages. So it's not kind of a static journey in that way. They're looking for information. So they're looking a bit more detail about what you're offering. Is there any variations? Are there packages? Are there different price points to consider? How does it work? What's included? What's excluded? So they're kind of going through that very logical mindset. And they're also kind of going it from a head perspective. And so a lot of people are looking like very logical with their head, where they're going through all the information. But there's also the part where they're going through their heart. Do they like you? Are you somebody they want to do business with? Are you a small business they want to support that they can get on with? So they're looking for information about, values and mission and all that great information as well. And then it comes to the third stage, it's about evidence. It's kind of like, okay, so I've got to know what you do, who you are, can you deliver? So this is a great way you can put galleries and portfolios and items like that. We kind of call them credibility markers. So there's different ways that you can do it visually on a site. So you're looking for little nuggets of visual information that tells people, yes, this is a good choice. Because what we want to do with any website is to be the least risk option possible. Like, you're going to be in a safe pair of hands. We are the expert. Come this way. And so by having that within the evidence area, then people go, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to buy. This is quite exciting. And so once they've bought, again, we need another little step to help them, to let them know that action you just took, that was amazing. That was really great. And you can reinforce that with thank you videos, with next steps, with just reassuring them that was a great decision. So yeah, as I can say, there's like many different parts of what we do with a website, but I think fundamentally, if you're just starting out, if you're just looking for the basics, is understanding what are the real pain points of your customers, really doing that customer research, and knowing quite quickly when somebody lands on your website, what the hell do you do and can you help them? You know, all that other stuff, you know, if you're quite new to websites, can sound overwhelming. It can sound complex. You can build upon that on time. But if you don't have a website, you can't have anything to build on. So that's why I always celebrate people taking action of getting their website up. And, you know, websites are one of those things that are never done. And that's not in a negative way, because we grow our services, we change our services, we change our positioning, we change who we deal with, etc., etc. We might change our branding, our positioning in the marketplace. So it is an evolving beast, so to speak.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people just see it as, well, that's my website and it's up and it's done. And it's like, that's the start. That's, yeah, there will come a point where you'll go, do you know, this, I need to tweak this, I need to tweak that. It's a constant sort of evolution. And I think sort of the ideal client work and the messaging, that evolves, doesn't it? Even now, the messaging that I'm using now, what I technically do hasn't changed in a couple of years, but my messaging's had to. So my website's had to change, because everybody has changed in the last year. I don't think there's anybody across the globe with what we've gone through that, they haven't changed. They're changed. Their viewpoint hasn't changed. So we need to be constantly looking at that customer, that ideal journey.
Yeah, and I also think like one of the biggest parts of all of that, so it's great to do all the research and to get all the messaging, but I think the thing that a lot of people kind of, a little bit like the elephant in the room that people really don't talk about, is that visibility. You know, by having your website out there, people get to see it, which is a positive and a negative, as we know. There's a lot, you know, as a business coach, you know, with your members in particular, how they kind of feel about that and what that brings up for them. And it's the thing that people don't talk about. And so my job in a number of different ways is very much being that helping hand, that coach and that support, because you see, so particularly in my face, is like when I'm having calls with people and guiding them through the experience, you can see all the blocks that are coming up that stop them, but you know, they're overwhelmed, they're frustrated, they procrastinate. You can see all those blocks coming up and you know exactly why. And that's why it's really important to find, you know, somebody, whatever part of your business you're working in, it's somebody you can really work with that can help you along that journey, because they've been through it, they're the expert, they see this every day of the week. And it's really about helping you with different strategies and tactics and tools to move you past that, so you can get to your end goal, really.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's a lot of stuff, whether it's they feel like they're trying to be boastful, or it's like they just feel awkward because they're like, I don't want to say that about myself publicly. That's weird. Or
oh gosh, I have to say one thing on this, and this is, gosh, it probably goes back 4 years, and you know, we all listen to the gurus, don't we? There's lots of different gurus out there. There's one particular site I was designing for a lady over in the US, and I was reading through her copy, reading what she was going to put on her about page. And rather than just put it up, I said, you know, can we just have a call about this? And I said, you know, I'm speaking as your friend. Do you really want to put this out there? So she was dealing with a very vulnerable situation. I think it's the politest way to kind of put it, if, you know, anybody with children are listening.
Yeah.
And I said, are you really sure this is how you want to position this part of your website? And she said, yes, no, I know I need to tell my story. I know I'm going to get out there. I haven't told any of my friends or family about it. I've told them I all want to meet them next week and tell them this. I'm like, because you're doing a website, you're going to be telling this really awful, heartbreaking thing to all these people you care about because you want to put on a website because you want to make sales. And I think it's really important to go, what am I prepared to share online, and have your own boundaries. And what I sort of said to her is, people will understand they have been through a similar situation to you by the phrasing you use. You don't have to spell these things out.
Yeah.
I don't talk about it very often, but sometimes, I'm not very well. And I can tell when I speak to certain people that they have the same kind of illness that I do. I don't have to talk about it much, and I don't have to put a label on it. But when you see somebody, you can hear the language, you could go, I can identify with that. So no matter if you're dealing with, particularly with horse therapies and the ways that you can talk about how you help people on that recovery journey, you don't have to explicitly talk about things. So it's really important, I think, when you're online, being visible is just taking that moment to discover your own boundaries and thinking.
And I think with everything, like, we can want to just give every single part of us and sort of churn out. And I've seen this a lot on websites as well, where people just put so much stuff on there and it's too much. And it's like, actually, they then need to go and edit out, because it's less is always more, isn't it, when it comes to a website? I don't know.
And I think it's that thing of, you're seeing it from your perspective, as that person with your business, your business inside out. You don't see it from that potential paying client perspective. And so you think they need all the information. They need to know exactly everything, every single service. And when we go and talk about the customer journey, it's, again, you don't offer all the things at all the stages. So, for example, in my business, quite often I can turn somebody who buys a passive income product from me for around about $50 into a multi-four-figure client. But I don't show them the four-figure thing at the beginning, because that doesn't answer their need. The thing that's $50 answers their need at that particular point. So it's about, understanding where people are on their journey and, what's appropriate for them. So that transformation you create for people. So, quite often I talk about things like client success paths. So what are the journeys to getting from being slightly interested in who you are to becoming a raving fan? It's kind of like dating. You don't automatically move in and marry with somebody when you first meet them. You need to get to know them. And again, what a small business is all about is relationship building. So you really need to understand those steps that help move the relationship on. And at different points, like when you're dating, you want to know different information. At the first hurdle, you don't necessarily want to know all the bad habits.
But what they eat for breakfast when you've only
but if they're ready to move in with you, what their daily routines is important to know, and how you're going to live together. So it's kind of like that, thinking about those different steps along the transformation you can create, and that client success plan to move them from, maybe a 10% transformation to 100% transformation. So definitely keep that in mind.
That's really sort of important to sort of map out. So, like, with that in mind, like, what do you feel are the really essential sort of pages or elements that people need on their websites? What key things should they be putting in?
So I think it depends on where you are, the journey. So I would probably kind of put this, you have a variety of different businesses, but the, 3 different kind of key levels. When you're first starting out, the key elements are going to be a one-pager website. So that will put in your about information, your offer, what you do, buy with me, contact. That's all going to be put into one page. And as you develop, those pages are going to be fleshed out a little bit more. But the key kind of purpose usually at the first start is to make money. So a way of having a buy now button, But also it's about building your email list and making those connections with people. Then you kind of come into that kind of growing and building stage of your business where you're thinking more about establishing a long-term relationship, and then you're going to be building out those different pages. So you're going to have pages for your services or your products. You're going to have more about on your about page. You're going to have a better way of making contact with people. So you're going to build that over time. You're going to have a more solid FAQ section because you have more experience. And so that's really important. And it's kind of more important to get more into your email marketing at that point. And then you're kind of thinking, you know, I'm a bit more established now. Let's grow and let's get automated, you know. And it's really is about thinking about, you know, signature products, signature offers, thinking about really dedicated, worked on sales pages that really do the hefty lifting for you. You know, is thinking about your marketing funnels and your frameworks and all that great stuff. So it really depends on where you are on that journey, but it's really important to identify where you are and kind of just acknowledge that rather than thinking you have to build everything out all at once. You don't. So what's important is that people, A, can buy from you, B, they know what the hell they're doing. And what I mean by that is the calls to actions. So making sure you've got that pathway through the information for people to land where you want them to land. So even at the end of an about page, I always design in a service grid. So another piece of information. So people just don't come to the end and go, well, that was lovely. That was lovely learning about that person, you know?
Yeah, I must admit, I do a lot of looking at people's about pages and saying to them, you've got to write your about page with not just all about you. It's got to be about your ideal client and how your story fits into them. Yeah, so often, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. And it's just,
yeah. But so what? So what? That's great. How does that help me as the pair of eyes looking at this? And what do you want me to do afterwards? Because we're so used to scrolling and being told what action to do. Don't make it hard work for your clients. You know, when you look at sites, how hard, quite a few of them, when I'm doing website reviews, geez, the numbers of them that don't have calls to actions, don't even have a buy now button, don't even have book a call button. It's just so simple, you know, and some of them, and if this is you, then I apologize, but some of them don't even have a built-in contact form. You know, they just have an email address. And just think through yourself the action you're going to take, especially in these times. People are going to be even more busy. So they might take that email address and put it ready to put an email. But, you know, the kid wants XYZ, or, you know, the smoke alarm's going off because somebody's trying to put some toast on. Do you know what I mean? So there's always constant interruptions. There's not necessarily a dedicated time when somebody looks at your website in that way. So make it as easy as possible. And also think about your audience. So if your audience are stressed out mums who just want, you know, riding lessons or whatever it is that you offer to get the kids out of the bloody house, with all the love and grace in the world, just get out the house, then make it easy for them to make that choice. You know, and think about what is the true point of that. The point isn't the kid, obviously, the kid having amazing experience riding and all that great stuff, but the actual real result of this is like 5 minutes of peace and quiet to have a cup of tea and a piece of cake. Do you know what I mean? That is the real transformation you're creating, is sanity within their day. So bear that in mind about what the real point of what you offer is.
I think people aren't always aware of the transformations that they can make in their businesses. And it's like I often say to people, but you do this, and they're like, no, I don't. It's like, yes, you really do.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's with all these things, it's, as you say, it's just putting up a web page, it's just bunging it up. All these things, if you know, any part of your business, if you want to get proper results, you know, grab a cup of tea, a nice biscuit, and just give yourself 5 minutes to think about it properly and thoughtfully. I mean, one of the things I kind of say is like, not only do I create beautiful websites, I create thoughtful ones. And that thoughtfulness is really key, because it allows people to make something better for them. You know, whether you're doing it yourself or you're hiring a professional, the better quality of thought you have within your business, the better results you're going to get. You're going to have, you might see things in a different way. And that's why, you know, joining like a mastermind group like you do and you offer is a great way just for people to bounce ideas off people, but also to think about their business in a more substantial way.
To get the perspective, because we only look at that box from one angle, whereas other people can see we can't. And I know you did the same with me, because you gave me a review and I was going through mine, and that's kind of how we first connected, because I thought, can somebody look at this? And I kind of know what I'm doing because I coach people on this, but still I can't get out of my own. It's like I've got blinkers on and I'm too close. I can't see the perspective. And you actually gave me that courage to go, no, make more space there, make more of a deal of that, take that out. Is that necessary? And
it doesn't matter what business you're in, you are never the expert on yourself. You know, you can't see yourself that way. And that's why having somebody else come into the equation, no matter what part of help they're giving you, allows you to go, oh yeah, I was speaking to a lady who's another web designer over in Kansas City yesterday, and I was speaking to her and I said, that thing you just mentioned, that is your USP. She went, you're joking, right? No, that really is your USP. That is what is going to cut the difference between every other web designer out there. She went, do you know what? I've been looking for 10 years for that answer. And it's been in my blood, you know, be the end of my nose the whole time. And I said, yes, but that is how you get more sales. That is how you create more traction in the marketplace, you know, but we can't do it for ourselves because we just don't have those mirrors.
We're just too close. We can't see the perspective. And a lot of the time, like people will say with me, because I do a lot of mindset coaching and sort of NLP, EFT, as well as business coaching, because I need to help people to move. It's the most important, like where you're at. If you want to move forward, we need to do what we need to do. And sometimes people will go, but I know all this, I've done that, I know all this. It's like, but you can't ask your brain the questions when your brain wants you to stay there to get you out of your own way. And it's
your ego, you know, that ego comes in, and sometimes, you know, and that's probably one of like my biggest flaws, like my ego coming into parts and thinking, I need to do all this, I need to do all that. No, you don't. You, in the most kindest, loving way possible, is speak to your clients at their level, like you're their friend, walking beside them. You know, I could all throw, you know, loads of techie terms out there, but I don't, because most of my clients are like, yeah, what was that? You know, and so that's why, you know, I really not talk down to them at all, is talk to them at their level as you would anybody. You know, I used to live in Oxford, so I used to have quite a few friends who had multiple degrees and doctorates, and, you know, I was the thickest person there. I only had one degree. I mean, gosh, get a load of me. You know, I wasn't solving cancer, and I wasn't, you know, creating vaccines for people for you know, for this epidemic we're in at the moment. So it's talking to people at any level is really important. You've got to meet them where they are so they can hear you. You know, there's no point in being, you know, the ego coming in and trying to say, as you said, you know, this is all about me, this is all my about page. No, meet them where they are so they can hear you. But you need other people around you to kind of reflect back all the time to say, actually, I don't understand that. And actually, when I was doing some work for your mastermind group, I was talking about it with one group, and they said, do you know what, Claire, I really don't actually know the difference between what a 500 and a 5,000 pound website is. And I went, you don't? They went, I kind of think, but I don't really know. So that's why I included that in the work I've done for you, is because I really thought people understood that. I really thought they did. But, you know, and I've been in the industry, what, I don't know, 6-7 years now. So it's always good to refresh yourself with what the new people,
what they know and what they don't know.
And that changes all the time. So all the new people coming in looking for your products and services is going to be very different to what somebody 5-10 years ago wanted from you. So yeah, it's really important to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the time people will say to me, oh, but I've already done this ideal client work. How does that relate to my website? And it's like, you've got to keep doing it. You can't just do it once and it's not done. You have to do it for every single thing you're doing, don't you? Every single change, every single time, you've got to get back to that and sort of to the journey. And so like one of the things that you said earlier was like, you've got to get people onto your email list. And I was like, because this is one of those messages that I'm forever telling people. Like I'm an accredited mailer light expert, and I spent a long years and years writing emails for people. And people are like, I don't want to do email annoys people, I don't want their email addresses. And it's like, you've got to, because everything else is sand, isn't it? Like, but that list is where the money is.
But it's what you own as well. And that's, there's lots of different approaches to websites as well. But one of the key things that is really, I think, kind of cute to do, especially in an email welcome sequence when somebody joins a list, is to actually do that customer research in there as well. So have it linked to like a Google form to say, how can I help you? What are your problems? Because why they joined your list might be slightly different to what you think it is. So it's that continuation of understanding what your clients want. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And constantly asking. I sent out an email yesterday just asking people, where are they? How are they? What do they need? When people sign up to my Facebook group, again, I ask them again, what are you struggling with? What do you need? I'm forever looking at that. I don't always get it right, but I'm always trying to at least come from their perspective, because it makes such a difference. So when it sort of comes to websites, do you think that people are always best to invest to get a website done properly, or should they do it themselves?
So that is a very big question. And there's not one single answer for it. Actually, I put up a blog last week all talking about the difference between DIY and custom websites. So if you want to go to my website and check that out, that's a great point to look at. But I think the key things to think about is, where are you in your business? Where do you want to get to? But also really have an honest conversation with yourself with absolute love and care for yourself. How much time do you have? Like, it takes time to create a website. Do you have time to learn a new skill? Are you interested in that? Yes or no? None of this is judgment, like no shame, no blame, no judgment. It's fine, whatever the answer is, but being truthful with yourself, you're going to get a better result. What budget investment do you have? Be honest with yourself of what you can and can't afford. And also think about the energy it takes to do all of this, and also your mindset. If you're not thinking about a website as a 24-hour marketing machine that gets you sales whilst you sleep, then actually, spending £5,000 on a website is probably not your best use of your money. However, if you feel like you want a more bespoke approach, you want something really customized to your business, custom websites are great. Go and find a web designer. However, if you're looking for something quick and simple, get up there, then the DIY templates are a great place to start. It just depends on where you are in your business and where you want. It doesn't mean wherever you start is where you end up. You can always change and progress and move on and move forward. But however, you just have to be honest with yourself about, as I said, those sort of 3-4 key things, like what capacity do I have in terms of time, energy, money, and mindset? What is my capacity? And then just finding that best route for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like, if you know that you're still in the evolution stage and things are always changing, you've got to be able to move with it and to change with it, which is why having that approach works so much better. So I totally agree. And I think it's one of those things as well that people who start their business, they're like, I need a website. And it's like, no, you need to test your idea first. Don't go spending time and effort and money and investing all of that.
But I mean, on the flip side of that, you can have a 1-page website up using a template, or a 5-page website using a template, and test out. If you're not sure who your audience is, it's okay to test it out. Nothing stays the same. When we think about the amazing websites we use every day, you look at BBC News, you look at Google, you look at Amazon, they have progressed and changed over time. And none of them are static.
Yeah.
I think the only, like, you know, even when you think about logos, I think like maybe Nike is the only one that's with the tick. You know, like that iconic tick for they bought for what, $35 back in the day. I think that's like the only one that I can really think of that they haven't progressed and changed. You think about Coca-Cola, you think about McDonald's, all of those brands slightly adjust and change how they position themselves in the marketplace.
Yeah,
And as
even
a small
the
business,
Facebook F has changed, I think, over the years. Like,
and don't start me on the Google with their tabs for mails and calendar and all. Don't get me started on that. What, I don't know why they did that. But
I know, yeah, there's some changes where we do keep going. The latest one that everybody's in my audience is raving about is like the Facebook business pages thing. Everybody's like, did they actually test this with anybody that runs a business? They've made it worse.
But that's, you know, and again, you were saying earlier, I'm not perfect. I do my best. You know, big companies, they're not perfect. They do their best. And so this idea of reaching perfection all the time is a lovely idea, but sometimes it causes a lot of stress and strain. And it's better to kind of put something out there and get it noticed and people talk and give you feedback than have everything sequel squirreled away that nobody sees.
Yeah, it's being brave enough, isn't it? Being brave enough to do it badly and then improve. You can't improve on something that you haven't even tried, can you? It's like you can't expect to be perfect. And I know I had Matthew Hughes from King of Video on the other week. And he said that was one of the first things that he said that helped him was he gave himself permission to take imperfect action, and it made massive difference.
Yeah, it is about just getting yourself out there. And I kind of guess as well is knowing that it can feel very lonely as a small business owner, but knowing that there's loads of people who've taken the same action, have gone through the same blocks, the same issues, the same challenges as you, even though at times it can be super hard to think that you're like, I'm the only one who finds this difficult. Absolutely not. You know, back in the day, when I first started learning how to create a website and design, there were times where I'm like, this is going to be hard. This is going to be really tough. So I'd sit down, I'd purposely buy a really nice piece of cake and have a cup of tea and just have the mental set that this is going to be challenging. This is going to be hard. But by the end of it, there's going to be reward, which is a bloody lovely piece of cake. But it's, you know, having whatever you need to help you along the journey, even if you know those bits are going to be challenging and difficult. We all have to go through them and overcome them in different ways. So, you know, just find what works for you. But I always recommend a cup of tea and a nice biscuit, but that's just me.
Cup of tea and cake. I often, we've got in Nail It Mastermind today, we've got co-working sessions where we just kind of get on with it. And and I'm like, you've just got to make things fun, especially like, so let's do the stuff we don't like doing, the things that we put off, like, I'll be doing my accounts because every time I see the numbers, my brain goes, but actually, when we're sitting down with friends, it becomes so much easier. So everything that we're learning. So thank you so much, Claire, for all your wisdom today.
That's okay.
If people want to find out more about what you do, where would they be best to find you?
Well, I mean, obviously, come over to the pistachioclub.com. So we've got a beautiful free resource there for you, all about the 5 key factors to creating authority on your website. So really talk about those credibility markers to really help you through. So that's a great place to start. Obviously on the blog post as well. But yeah, coming over, say hello. There's a lovely big button that says book a call. So if you're just wondering how I can help you, or you just got some questions, press that. You'll go through to my calendar. And then, you know, we can have a chat on Zoom and just discover more about who you are in your business and if I can help you or not. So yeah, that'd be great.
Brilliant. Okay, so we will do that. And so if anybody's got any questions, do of course direct them at me or at Claire, and we'll make sure that we connect. So thank you so much, and I look forward
to thank you.
And seeing you again really soon.
Yeah, have an amazing day, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much to Claire for joining me today. And of course, do make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a future episode, because I've got some great guests coming for you in the next couple of weeks, from copywriting to ads to Facebook to Instagram, loads of stuff that's going on. So if there's something that you would like to hear or see on the Equine Business Show, do make sure you send me a message, hello@jennybush.com, and I'll make sure that I cover that for you. So for now, have a great day, and I will see you really soon. Bye.